half of our kids are behind grade level. Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm a wife and a mom, and I am really concerned about what's going on with education in our country. So I want to talk with you about it. We're going to look at different things going around on the internet about education and see what's happening. This is At Home with Shelby. First, we're going to look at a video from TikTok, a teacher posting about what's going on with his students. We're going to be talking about underperforming students today, and this teacher has a lot to say about his students being behind. But that's all I know about this video. I haven't seen it before. So we're going to take a look real quick.
No, y'all, can we talk about it? Can we please talk about it? Let's take a moment to discuss. Let's take a moment to debrief. Let's take a moment to unpack. So I'm not really understanding why they're not telling y'all. Like, we all know that the world is behind, like, globally, like, because of the pandemic and stuff. But I don't understand why they're not stressing to y'all how bad it is. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are... I'm going to just say this. I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level. I don't care how you flip it, turn it, swing it, swindle it. They still performing on the 4th grade level. Ain't nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. They just keep passing them on, 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 passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're going to move that child to the 8th grade next year. Ain't nobody talking about that. Why they not talking about that? Why they not telling y'all that y'all... And why don't y'all know that y'all kids not performing on their grade level? Why y'all don't know this? Why y'all don't know? Talk about it. Let's unpack. Because y'all be quick to talk about, oh, the teacher this, the teacher this, it's your job, baby. I just got here 30 days ago. She was performing on the 4th grade level since 4th grade. Why we not talk? Well, let's talk about it. You the teacher. You supposed to be, again, she been on the 4th grade level since the 4th grade. We in 7th grade now, so you let this child go 3 years and you never knew that your child was still in the 4th grade, ain't never left the... Hang it up, flat screen. And 4th graders being nice. I still have kids performing on grade K, 1, 2, and 3rd grade levels. I could probably count on one hand how many kids are actually performing on their grade level. So just imagine, you don't know that your child been on the 2nd grade level since the 2nd grade, and they now in the 7th or 8th grade? Are you joking right now? And these are future leaders, our future doctors, our future nurses, our future... Please. Please.
Wow. So... there's so many things in this video that make me just want to shake people. So there's the hard time that teachers are having, right? Because we know that most teachers are really good at their jobs. Most teachers are trying their hardest. I don't think there's a whole lot of bad teachers floating around out there. I think most people got into teaching because they care about kids and they want them to learn. Like, are the teachers causing this problem? Are the parents causing this problem? Is the way the schools run causing problems? And, probably in different situations, it's a little bit of both, right? There are some teachers who are just worn out, right? After COVID and all of that, people are tired. Teachers are tired. Kids are behind and they didn't get a break. Teachers have had to roll with the punches and just keep going. So that's a factor. And then parents are busy. And that's not a good excuse, right? Like, we have children, we have to take care of them. But then when you meet with what the teachers are dealing with, what the parents are dealing with, and then you have all the rules and administrative bureaucracy that's really the thing going on in a lot of school districts. It's just all a mess, right? And so a lot of school districts, for example, in Virginia, are saying, oh, well, you can't give the student less than a 50%. Like, if they don't do any work at all, they can't even get a 0. They have to get at least 50%. And so things like that are sending children on to the next grade. And I've seen that happen in my backyard where kids are just teachers are sending kids on to the next grade because whether there's a policy or because they have too many kids and they're not able to focus as much on one kid as they would like to. There's a host of reasons, and it's not bad teachers. And a lot of times it's not bad parents. It's just how they work together is not working well. And of course there are some parents that aren't paying attention. And like this teacher said, at the end of the day, your kid gets a teacher every year, right? Or a number of teachers every year. And that teacher can either be good at communicating with you or not good at communicating with you. But it is still up to you at the end of the day as a parent to find out how your kid's doing. Talk to the teachers, initiate the conversation. Maybe you've got a teacher that's not very good at initiating contact. It's up to you to go to the school and talk to them, reach out, and find out, how's my kid doing? And don't be offended if they're not doing well. I hear that a lot where used to, kids would get in trouble at school and then they would get in trouble at home too. And now it's kind of the opposite. Kids come home complaining about what their teacher did to them, and then the parents go and get the teacher in trouble. And I think all of those things together really has everybody at odds, and it's not helping our kids. So we're going to go ahead and look at another video about how students are doing and see what this next person has to say.
They can't do it. And it's not just that the kids don't have the knowledge, they don't care to have the knowledge. It would be different if kids were struggling or had gaps and wanted to know more and wanted to try and wanted to get better. That's something that we all could work with. That's not the case here. And I don't blame them. I don't think it's their fault. And I don't necessarily think it's technology's fault either. Like the highest grade in my class right now is an 84. And I have, because that's what you got. And I promise you, these kids are reading in class. We do reading because we know the only way to get better at reading comprehension is to read. But we have to read much smaller passages with much less complication to make sure that they get the foundation of comprehending. The problem is that's not a 7th grade skill. That's 4th grade skill. You should learn that back then. So a lot of teachers are struggling is because we have to balance between the gaps that you have before, like the building blocks that you don't have, and also making sure that you get the information you should have got this year as well, which is why kids are constantly behind, because teachers are trying to fill in gaps. They have their phones. It fixes things for them. None of their friends, they don't feel the gaps. Everybody around them is in the same spot, so they don't understand how behind they are. A lot of the times we're struggling to get kids to have the motivation to finish assignments, to care that they're failing. I have kids who are failing now and who are like, I don't care. I'm like, you have a 40 in my class right now and I need you to turn this assignment. And they're like, I don't care about that 40. They don't care. And it's like leading a horse to water, but I can't make it drink.
So this is a problem I've been seeing a lot. I have teacher friends, I have substitute teacher friends, and they're telling me kids don't care. Kids come to school, they put in their time. They really don't care what the teacher says. They don't care what they're learning. And I'm sure there are a lot of reasons for this, right? There's books have been written, and more books will continue to be written about all of what's going on in education today. But one thing that I've really noticed is because of the overwhelm of teachers, because of the bureaucracy, because parents are too busy to really drill down into what are you learning? How can I support you in learning? What can we look over at home to help move you forward? There's not adequate communication between the school and the parent. It's not necessarily the school's fault. It's not necessarily the parent's fault, but it's falling apart somewhere. And it's different in each situation, right? So I'm not pointing at either party and saying, oh, this person is all the problem, right? But kids are not understanding why things are important. And I think that's a very big problem. And I agree with this video here in that I don't think it is completely technology's fault. I don't think technology necessarily helps, but I wouldn't blame it on technology. I think there is a fundamental disconnect in how students think about learning. Why are they even at school? What are they there for? And I think a lot of kids couldn't answer that question. And also, how will what you're learning help you in the rest of your life? Most kids can't answer that question either. My substitute teacher friend shared with me a boy that she's been working with, and he asked his English teacher, why do I need to learn how to write an essay? I'm not going to ever use that in real life. And of course, he's going to need to use that in real life. We who have had jobs, we who have communicated with people know that communication is a vital skill that he needs, but he doesn't understand it. He doesn't know. And what did the teacher say? This teacher said, because it's going to be on the test. And that is not the right answer. And I think that teachers have to answer that question better for students. And I think that parents have to answer that question better for students. If you look at the National Center for Education Statistics, that's something that the government does to track how kids are doing across the country. About half of students this year are behind grade level in at least one subject, right? So half of our kids are behind grade level. that's not okay. And I don't think we can blame it all on the pandemic. I think we have to really take a close look on all the disconnects that are happening between the classroom and the home, and figure out, we can't just blame this all on a disease. We can't blame this all on having to homeschool at home for a little while. We can't blame this all on teacher shortages or whatever people want to blame. There's fundamental disconnect in our kids' minds about what learning is and why it's important. And I think that that's where we have to start if we're going to make things better. So we're going to take a quick look at an article put out by the Webster Educational Foundation. The title is "Over a Dozen Baltimore Schools Don't Have Any Students Who Are Proficient in Math." So this is just continuing that same narrative that we've been talking about. Any students, a dozen high schools don't have any students who are at grade level in math. It blows my mind a little bit. Like, I don't even understand how that happens. How? High schools. How do you get to high school and nobody knows how to do math and everybody's just like, cool. No one can do it, so cool. So Project Baltimore, according to this article, obtained the scores prior to Maryland publishing this data. And in these schools, no students scored proficient in 2023 spring exam, including schools that are considered high performing. That blows my mind a little bit. I kind of want to know how those high performing statistics are obtained. Like, how do you rank as high performing if your kids can't do math? Last I checked, reading and writing and math are kind of fundamental building blocks, right, for all learning. And if you're up to high school and you don't have proficiency in math, like, how long? Like, one of those videos the guy mentioned, those kids don't just start being behind that year. They've been behind for years and years and years, and no one has caught that. And a lot of states across the country are starting high dosage tutoring, and they're starting all these initiatives to try to help kids bring stuff up to grade level. But this is not the start of this, right? People have been trying to bring kids back up to grade level for a while now, and there's a disconnect here about the cure is not working with the disease. So I hope that Maryland has a little bit of a dose of reality here, that Baltimore understands that I don't think you can even call a school high performing if your students are failing. Like, math is not a small issue. Oh, just because you have a calculator in your back pocket doesn't mean you don't need the building block of learning to make sense in your head so that you can function in life without having a device attached to you. So read that article. It's very, very interesting about what's going on in Baltimore. There's this one dad in the article who thought that his daughter was going to be ready for college because she was at one of the best schools in Baltimore. Like, Baltimore is not a little town. Like, it's a big deal. Baltimore, Maryland is so close to DC. It's so close to the hub of our country. He thought his daughter was going to be kind of launched into this successful career, be ready for college, and her high performing school just wasn't cutting it. This parent, he says, the test scores are absolutely revealing the shortcomings of the classroom instruction. We are setting them up to fail. And I agree with that, Dad. Like, if your kids aren't hitting grade level, if the school is saying, attaboy, just go on to the next grade, attagirl, it doesn't matter, I know you're trying. Like, that is not kind to the student. That is not doing a service to the student to just move them along to the next grade. It is literally like this parent, Desmond Stinney, said, we are setting them up to fail. And I agree with that. So this is crazy. So today we've looked at a couple of these videos about how kids are behind, and we looked at this article from the Webster Educational Foundation about what's going on in Maryland and their top schools there. And I am so saddened by some of these things that are happening. I know there are high points in education. I know there's progress that we're making, but this isn't acceptable, right? So we're going to be covering a lot of this in future episodes. And if you would follow the Webster Educational Foundation, NWEF.org, You can learn more about what we're doing to try to combat what's happening in our country, how we're trying to give tools to parents, how we're trying to give tools to schools to make a difference, to make a change, and encourage everyone to do their part, because it's going to take all of us working together to help our kids succeed, and it has to happen.